Have you heard the myth that hypermobile students shouldn't lock their elbows and should keep a microbend? I'm here to talk about why that doesn't apply to pole dancers. This one's a bit controversial, so strap on in. Unlike some of the joints in our body, when we lock our elbow, we actually lock bone on bone. The elbow has this hook-like bone called an olecranon that wraps around the elbow, and so once we go into place, it cannot go any further. The only way we can really seriously damage the elbow in terms of a dislocation is a fall from great height or significant forces, which are just not present in our pole tricks. This means that for most people, once the lock is in place, we can't go any further, and therefore we're probably not pulling on any tendons or ligaments in the elbow. Holding a microbend position, whether that's up the pole in an Aisha or on the floor in a plank, is significantly harder to hold than a straight locked arm, which probably isn't the end of the world in a fitness class like yoga or Pilates. But it can be incredibly taxing when we're upside down in a precarious position. When you microbend, the small muscles surrounding the elbow are going to have to work really, really hard. And it makes it really hard to engage fully from the shoulder. This is a protective thing that really helps to protect our wrists and our elbows. This increases the risk of tendinitis and other overuse injuries around the elbow, the wrists, and the shoulder. There are three main reasons that students get pain with a locked elbow. The first is that they're probably just not strong enough to sustain the position you're asking them to do and need to build a lot more strength. The second is not pushing all the way from the shoulder, which is hugely protective. I talk about the importance of pushing all the way from the scapula in another myth-busting video. And the last reason is due to previous injury, and a microbend doesn't solve any of these issues. It doesn't make sense to me to tell students who are not strong enough or able to do the easier position, which is the locked arm, to do a harder position, the microbend. It's just swapping one problem for another. A microbend can also be an increased risk in tricks like Aisha. A straight arm gives us a lot of stability. When we bend the arm, if it were to buckle, we also have the risk of falling out onto our head. Because once the elbow buckles, we tend to go over backwards. I spent years telling students to microbend due to this myth, and what I witnessed was that students either just couldn't progress and it held them back, or at worst, they got injured. If you're getting pain with a locked elbow, you need to see a physiotherapist, get their advice, and avoid doing anything that aggravates it until you are cleared to do it again.